sun hung low over the dusty square in Montgomery, Alabama, casting long shadows that twisted like chains across the wooden platform. A crowd of white men in broad-brimmed hats and linen suits gathered, their faces etched with indifference, cigars smoldering in the humid air. Amid the murmurs, a young woman stood chained at the wrists, her calico dress torn at the hem, eyes fixed on the horizon where cotton fields blurred into fog. Her name was Alara, skin like polished ebony, hair coiled in tight braids that caught the fading light. The auctioneer's hammer gleamed with iron menace, his voice like a whip. Bidders shifted, boots scraping dirt, their gazes appraising her form as if she were livestock under the relentless sun. Alara's faintly as she straightened, a spark of fire in her dark eyes, unseen by the men below. Memories flooded her, the raid on her village in Senegal years ago, iron manacles biting into flesh during the Middle Passage, the ship's hold, thick with smoke from lanterns, bodies pressed in ruinous darkness, arrival in Mobile Bay, fog rolling off the water like ghosts, chains dragging her to this fate. Now, in 1851, Alabama's plantations sprawled like wounds on the land, fed by blood and sweat. The auctioneer barked her age 22, praising her strength for fieldwork or domestic service. A man in the front row, tall with a mustache like twisted iron, raised his hand, his eyes locking on hers. His name was Harlan Voss, owner of Willow Bend Plantation, his white shirt stained with faint tobacco smoke. Alara felt a chill. Shadows lengthening as bids rose, her heart pounding like distant thunder. Voss's bid climbed, his voice steady, face a mask of possession. The hammer fell, sealing her sale for $1,200, chains transferred to his overseer. As they led her away, fog from the Alabama River crept in, swallowing the square in ethereal gray. Voss's carriage waited, black as night, horses snorting plumes of breath. Like smoke, Alara climbed in, wrists bound, the iron cold against her skin. The ride to Willow Bend wound through misty woods, ruins of old cabins dotting the roadside. Voss sat opposite, his gaze heavy, shadows playing on his features. She stared out, seeing chains in the hanging moss, blood in the red clay soil. Arrival at the plantation, grand white columns rising like bones from the earth, fog clinging to the verandas, slave quarters huddled in the back, thatched roofs sagging, smoke rising from meager fires. Alara was unchained, pushed toward a line of women in faded dresses, their eyes hollow shadows. Overseer cracked his whip in the air, a visual arc of menace, no sound needed. She joined the field hands at dawn, picking cotton under blistering sun, thorns drawing blood, hands raw, stained red, chains of labor invisible but binding. Voss watched from horseback, his silhouette against the fiery sunset. Nights in the quarters, flickering candlelight casting shadows on dirt floors, whispers among slaves, tales of rebellion, Nat Turner's ghost in the fog. Alara dreamed of fire consuming the big house, iron gates melting. A twist, one evening, Voss summoned her to the main house, his eyes gleaming in lamplight. She entered, shadows dancing. From the fireplace, smoke curling like serpents. He offered her a chair, unusual courtesy, his voice soft but laced with intent. Alara sat, chains of etiquette binding her posture. He spoke of her beauty, comparing it to polished iron, a possession to cherish. Her stomach twisted, shadows deepening as he poured wine, blood red in crystal. She refused, eyes fixed on the flames, envisioning revenge back in quarters. Fog rolled in, smoke from dying fires mingling. She gathered herbs in secret, knowledge from her homeland, poisons hidden in shadows. Days blurred, cotton bowls like white ghosts in the fields. Voss's attentions grew, gifts of finer cloth, but chains remained in her mind. A storm brewed, lightning illuminating ruins beyond the fields. Alara met a fellow slave, Josiah, his scars. Like iron brands, they whispered plans, fog concealing their words. But Voss discovered a note, shadows falling as he confronted her. Punishment, lashes in the yard, blood staining the ground. She endured, fire in her veins, plotting deeper. Recovery in isolation, chains literal now, fog seeping through cracks. Voss visited, his face a mask of false concern, smoke from his pipe enveloping, emotional. Twist, he confessed admiration, hinting at freedom through union. Elara's rage simmered, shadows lengthening in her soul. She feigned interest, eyes like dark pools reflecting fire. Nights of tension, ruins in dreams crumbling under blood rain. Overseer tightened watch, iron tools glinting. Elara stole a vial from the apothecary's shed, hidden in fog. Plans formed, symbolic chains breaking in her visions. Harvest moon rose, blood orange, casting eerie light. Voss announced a feast, smoke from barbecue pits rising. Slaves gathered, shadows flickering. Elara served, her hands steady, poison in mind, but a delay. Josiah warned of suspicion, fog thickening. She hesitated, emotional pull of camaraderie. Twist, Voss proposed informally, ring like iron shackle. She nodded, inner fire blazing. Chapter end. As fog swallowed the plantation, Elara slipped away, vial in hand, anticipation building for dawn's revelation. The field stretched endless, chains of rows mocking her. Sunrise brought smoke from kitchens, ruins of night lingering. Voss's eyes followed her, shadows of possession. She gathered allies in whispers, fog as cover. Psychological descent, memories of lost family, blood ties severed. Iron tools in the barn tempted her for direct revenge. But subtlety called, poison like silent smoke, daily life, churning butter, shadows on wooden churn. Washing linens in the river, fog rising from water. Voss's letters arrived, scripted promises, ink like blood. She burned one, flames symbolic, gathering nightshade under moonlight, chains rattling faintly. Overseer's patrol, shadows evading, emotional hook. Josiah's betrayal fear, twist in trust. He confessed love, complicating revenge. Elara pushed away, fire in resolve, plantation ball planned. Voss's pride, dresses sewn, iron needles pricking. Foggy eve, smoke from torches. She danced unwillingly, shadows swirling. Voss's hand on her waist, like chains. Escape attempt thwarted, blood from thorn scratch. Back 2 quarters, ruins in spirit. Dawn's light pierced fog, smoke lingering. Voss summoned again, proposal formalizing. Ring presented, iron band with gem. She accepted. Eyes shadowed, poison secured, hidden in folds. Anticipation mounted, chapters suspense in her gaze toward the big house. Fog-draped Willow Bend in 1851 Alabama, mischaining ancient oaks as Elara awoke to shadows slithering across her dirt-floored quarters. Josiah's face appeared at the door, breath smoky in the chill, whispering of Harlan Voss's cruelty and the ruins of brides past. Elara nodded, fire sparking in her dark eyes, a blood oath. Of revenge silently vowed against the man who owned her. Fields called through the haze, cotton bowls ghostly under fog. The overseers whip a coiled iron serpent casting long shadows. Elara picked bowls under the humid sky, thorns pricking blood drops, Voss's gaze cutting through the misty veil from horseback. He dismounted, boots trailing shadows in red clay, offering a blood-red rose with thorns that bit her palm. Her smile masked seething hate, chains of feigned compliance hiding a psychological storm brewing. Slow, deliberate revenge. The sun scorched away fog, plow smoke curling upward as she gathered foxglove, concealing the deadly herb in her tattered apron. Ruins of an old slave cabin stood nearby, vines twisting like iron chains, where Josiah followed, his touch a fleeting warmth. He urged escape, fog their shield to freedom, but she refused, voice aflame. His end is mine, not flight. The overseer's shadow loomed, eyes sharp with suspicion. Punishment paused, but tension coiling like a tightened rope. Candlelight cast dancing shadows on her quarters' walls. Dreams of Senegal's blood-stained sands haunting her sleep. Iron ships rose in nightmares, cannon smoke choking the air, waking her sweat soaked as fog pressed against the window. Voss sent a silk dress, a symbol of chained beauty, which she wore. the mirror reflecting her iron resolve, poison mixed in a vial, gleaming under moonlight, while the overseer's keys clinked, an iron threat looming in the distance, grinding corn at dawn, shadows twirled on the millstone, river fog rising where blood-red reeds swayed. In the current, Voss hosted a dinner, cigar smoke swirling thick, Elara serving with chains of duty binding her every step. Guests' eyes lingered, shadows of envy in their glances, one whispering of Voss's first wife, dead in mysterious ruin. Doubt crept like fog, poisoning her thoughts, as Josiah's whispered love complicated her fiery resolve for vengeance. She pushed him away, revenge her only flame, as a storm roared, lightning illuminating distant plantation ruins. Wind spun fog into smoky swirls, the vial hidden in a floor crack, chained by secrecy against prying eyes. Morning sun rose blood red over fallow fields, Voss setting the wedding date, his invitations like iron decrees. The chapel was prepped, slaves rushing in shadows, Elara sewing her veil, needles pricking like thorns in her fingers. Fog fell at dusk, mingling with smoke from fires, Josiah urging carriage sabotage, but she held firm to her plan. Visions of blood-red wine filled her mind, revenge sharpening slowly, the big house glowing with lantern-cast shadows. Voss paced the veranda, cigar smoke coiling upward, Elara watching from afar, chains tightening in her. Thoughts, women allies whispered in the fog, one sharing arsenic lore, a silent promise of death to seal her liberation. Voss found herb scraps in the garden, suspicion flaring, summoning her to the parlor where fire roared in the hearth. His eyes pierced like iron. What secrets hide in your shadows? She lied smoothly, heart cracking under the strain. Released, her rage burned hotter, revenge now an iron vow, sleepless nights spent with fog clinging to her soul. Dreams of chains melting in blazing fire haunted her, dawn bringing smoke as kitchens stirred alive for the day. The overseer flogged another slave, blood staining the whipping post, Elara looking away, her will hardening like iron. Wedding invitations spread, freedom's ruins fading, as she tested poison on a rat, its swift death a symbolic victory. Josiah's jealousy twisted, love straining their bond, threatening to expose her, his words hidden in the fog. She swayed him with fiery persuasion, the plantation buzzing with wedding preparations, a visual storm of activity. Dress hoops clinked, iron beneath silk, as she walked a foggy eve, ruins calling her name in the distance. A rusted chain fragment found among the ruins, kept as a dark motif, Voss's letter arriving with blood-sealed promises. She burned the letter, flames devouring paper, anticipation swelling as the wedding night loomed ever closer. Fields lay silent, cotton bowls like ghostly surrendered spirits, the overseer's iron gaze tracking her every step. A memory of her mother's face, lost in the smoke of a raid, flared her resolve, the vial warming in her hand. Guests rolled in, carriages slicing through fog, the big house shining with lanterns like fiery, watchful eyes. steam rising like smoke, his whip glinting as he patrolled the foggy fields. She met another slave, Ruth, in the ruins, her scarred hands passing a root to enhance the poison's bite. Night deepened, stars veiled by fog, Elara's dreams painting Voss's death in strokes of fire and blood. Waking, she traced the chain fragment, its rust flaking like dried blood, a talisman of her coming vengeance. The big house's columns stood like bleached bones, fog wrapping them as Elara planned her final steps. Josiah's shadow joined her at dawn, his whispered warning of a new guard twisting her gut with fear. She hid the vial again, under a loose heartstone, its iron grate a fitting guard for her secret weapon. Voss rode out to hunt, his rifle's barrel iron cold, returning with a deer blood trailing in the red dirt. Elara dressed the carcass, hands stained crimson, the act a grim rehearsal for her wedding night's deed. A guest's glance lingered too long, his whisper of her past auction stirring memories of chains and smoke. She quashed the pain, fire in her veins, focusing on the vial's promise as fog rolled in thicker. The plantation's rhythm pulsed, slaves sewing banners, their needles flashing like tiny iron daggers. Elara's veil took shape, white as fog but heavy, each stitch a step toward her chained performance. Voss summoned her again, his study smoky with cigars, maps of his land spread like blood-veined skin. He spoke of their future, his voice soft iron, her noddle eye as she envisioned his wine turning to blood. The overseer's search grew. Bolder, quarters tossed, Elara's heart racing as shadows missed her hidden vial. Night brought a storm, thunder shaking ruins, lightning casting chains of light across the plantation. She met Josiah in secret, fog cloaking their words, his love a spark threatening to derail her fire. Elara's resolve hardened, pushing him back, her plan a blade sharpened by years of blood and chains. The chapel's iron cross gleamed in moonlight, a symbol of her false vows and true vengeance. Slaves whispered of rebellion, Nat Turner's name a ghost in the fog, fueling Elara's silent fire. Voss's kin arrived, their crinolines rustling, eyes upraising her like livestock under smoky lanterns. She served them tea, hands steady, poison vial a secret weight against her chest, fog outside swirling. A memory of her village burned, smoke and blood rising, steeling her for the act she would commit. Josiah's gaze softened, offering a stolen apple, its red skin a fleeting echo of her blood-soaked dreams. The plantation glowed, preparations peaking, shadows of guests dancing like chained spirits in the hall. Elara walked the ruins. Alone, fog her ally, clutching the chain fragment as a vow to break her bonds. Dawn broke, smoke from kitchens rising, the wedding's weight pressing as her plan neared its climax. Voss's final letter burned in her hands, flames licking paper, her eyes fixed on the big house's glow. As fog swallowed the plantation, suspense coiled tight, Elara's gaze locked on the wedding night's promise. Dawn broke over Willow Bend in 1851, fog chaining the plantation as Elara stood at her window, shadows retreating from the dirt floor. Josiah knocked softly, his face etched with worry, breath smoky in the chill, urging escape to the ruins beyond the fields. Elara shook her head, fire blazing in her eyes, her blood oath too. End Voss hardening against the misty Alabama morning. Fields lay fallow, earth scarred like open wounds, the overseer smile mythological storm brewing as she clutched the hidden poison vial. Sun burned away fog, plow smoke rising, as she slipped to the herb garden, foxglove leaves concealed in her calico apron. Ruins of a burned cabin loomed nearby, vines like iron chains, where Josiah's shadow joined her, his touch a fleeting warmth. He begged her to flee north, fog as their shield, but she whispered fire, Voss's blood. Will free me, not flight. The overseer's eyes narrowed, his whip an iron arc, suspicion coiling like smoke as he watched her every move. Candlelight flickered in her quarters, shadows dancing on walls, dreams of Senegal's blood-soaked sands haunting her sleep. Iron ships rose in nightmares, their holds reeking of smoke, waking her in a sweat as fog pressed against the window panes. Voss sent a pearl-stitched veil, a symbol of chained purity, which she tried on, the mirror reflecting her steely resolve. Poison shimmered in the vial, hidden in her bodice, as the overseer's iron keys jangled. A constant threat in the humid air, grinding corn at dawn, shadows spun on the millstone, river fog rising where blood reeds swayed in the sluggish current. Voss hosted a hunt, his rifle's iron barrel gleaming, returning with a deer blood trailing in the red clay dust. Elara dressed the carcass, hands stained crimson, the act a grim rehearsal for her wedding night's deadly intent. A guest's whisper stirred memories of her auction, chains clinking in her mind, smoke from that day clouding her thoughts. Her resolve flared, fire in her veins, the vial's promise of blood and liberation warming against her chest. The plantation buzzed, slaves sewing banners, needles flashing like iron daggers under the smoky glow of lanterns. Elara's veil grew heavy, white as fog, each stitch a vow of vengeance as she prepared for her chained performance. Voss summoned her to his study, cigar smoke curling, maps of his land spread like blood-veined skin across the desk. He spoke of their union, voice soft as iron, her noddle eye as she envisioned his wine turning to blood. In crystal, the overseer's searches intensified, quarters tossed, her heart racing as shadows missed the vial hidden under a heartstone. Night brought a storm, thunder shaking ruins, lightning casting chains of light across the plantation's sprawling fields. Josiah met her in secret, fog cloaking their words, his love a spark threatening to derail her fiery revenge. She pushed him back, resolve hardening like iron, her plan a blade sharpened by years of blood and bondage. The chapel's iron cross gleamed in moonlight, a symbol of false vows and the true vengeance she would exact. Slaves whispered of Nat Turner's rebellion, his name a ghost in the fog, fueling Elara's silent, burning resolve. Voss's kin arrived, crinolines rustling like dry leaves, their eyes appraising her like livestock under smoky chandeliers. She served them tea, hands steady, the poison vial a secret weight, fog swirling outside the big house's tall windows. Memories of her village burned, smoke and blood rising, steeling her for the act she would commit on her wedding night. Josiah's gaze softened, offering a stolen peach, its red blush an echo of the blood-soaked dreams. Driving her forward, the plantation glowed, wedding preparations peaking, shadows of guests dancing like chained spirits in the grand hall. Elara walked the ruins alone, fog her ally, clutching a rusted chain fragment as a vow to shatter her bonds. Dawn broke, smoke from kitchens rising, the wedding's weight pressing as her plan neared its deadly climax. Voss's latest letter burned in her hands, flames licking paper, her eyes fixed on the big house's fiery glow. The overseer flogged a slave, blood staining the post, Elara averting her eyes, her will forging into iron resolve. She tested the poison on a stray dog, its swift death in the ruins a symbolic promise of Voss's impending end. Josiah's jealousy flared, love straining their bond, his whispered threat to expose her lost in the foggy night. She swayed him with fiery words, the plantation humming with wedding chaos, banners fluttering like chained ghosts. Dress hoops clinked, iron beneath silk, as she walked a foggy eve, ruins whispering promises of liberation. A diary found in the ruins, Voss's first wife's, hinted at poison, its pages crumbling like dried blood in her hands. She burned the diary, flames devouring secrets, the irony of a revenge cycle fueling her smoldering determination. The overseer's horse snorted steam like smoke, his whip glinting as he patrolled the fields under a bruised sky. Elara slipped to the riverbank, fog curling like smoke, washing blood from thorn-scratched hands in the cold current. Voss's laughter rang from the big house, cruel and sharp, his silhouette framed by firelight in towering windows. She clutched the vial tighter, its glass cool, a silent promise of blood and freedom hidden in her trembling palm. The plantation's bell tolled, iron notes echoing, signaling the day's end as fog thickened around the quarters. A slave woman's song drifted, mournful in the mist, weaving chains of sorrow through the heavy, humid air. Elara's hands shook folding linens, each crease a reminder of the iron bonds she aimed to break with poison. Voss rode out at dawn, his rifle's barrel iron cold, blood of game staining the earth as he returned triumphant. She prepared his meal, hands stained with beet juice, a visual echo of the blood she planned to spill. A guest recognized her from Mobile's auction block, his whisper stirring memories of chains and choking smoke. She quashed the pain, fire surging within, the vial's lethal promise anchoring her to her dark purpose. The chapel was adorned, ribbons like chains, the iron cross atop gleaming under a sky heavy with smoke. Elara sewed her veil, pearls glinting like stars, each stitch a step closer to her chained wedding performance. Voss's kin toasted in the parlor, cigar smoke thick, their laughter grating as Alara poured blood-red wine. She held back the poison, hand steady, the moment not yet ripe, suspense coiling like a chain in her chest. Josiah signaled from the shadows, their plan set, his eyes pleading as fog thickened outside the glowing hall. Voss's hand grazed her arm, iron in his touch, her smile a mask hiding the fiery hate burning within her. The overseer's search grew bolder, boots in red clay, missing the vial hidden beneath the garden's iron stake. Night fell, fog pressing the big house, dreams of Voss's death painting her sleep in strokes of fire and blood. She woke to smoke from dying fires, the chain fragment in her hand, its rust flaking like dried blood. The big house's columns stood like bleached bones, fog wrapping them as Alara planned her final fatal steps. A new guard's shadow loomed, Josiah's warning whispered, twisting her gut with fear of discovery. She moved the vial to a hollowed fence post, its iron nails guarding her secret as fog cloaked her movements. Voss's sister eyed her, suspicion in her gaze, her crinoline rustling like chains in the smoky parlor. Alara served her tea. Heart pounding, the vial's weight a constant reminder of her blood-soaked mission. A storm brewed, lightning illuminating ruins, thunder shaking the earth like the crack of an iron whip. Josiah's love flared again, a whispered plea in the fog, threatening resolve for vengeance. Him away, fire in her words, blood and chains. The plantation's rhythm pulsed, slaves, silver, her smoky lanterns, a veil was complete, white as fate of her fall. Voss summoned, gleaming with possession as he spoke, teeth, envisioning his wine turning to blood under the wedding night's moon. Shadows, missing the vial in its new hiding place. Slaves whispered of rebellion's ghost in the words fueling Alara's fire. Voss reflected her, their gaze raising her like chattel as smoke walked the ruins at dusk, fog her shield, the chain fragment a vow to break her bonds forever. Dawn's smoke rose from kitchens, the wedding nearing, Alara's heart racing as her plan solidified. Voss's final letter burned in her hands, flames consuming promises, her eyes locked on the big house's glow, as Alara's gaze fixed on the chapel, iron vows whispering death. Smoke curled from chimney tops at Willow Bend in 1851, fog mixing like a secret hug as Alara got up, shadows sticking to her like old friends. Josiah was gone, maybe hiding in the ruins. Alara checked her poison vial, its clear liquid a promise of freedom. Her heart beat fast, revenge close now, blood memories. From her on, the plantation woke up, slaves moving quick, chains of daily work pulling them to fields under a smoky sky. Voss sat in blood, his eyes sharp as iron when he saw Alara walk by, dancing, giving her a bunch of blood-red. Alara ate, thinking how those thorns like to break. Her mind spun with plans, slow like building storm, the poison vial feeling heavy in her dress pocket. Sun pushed fog away, smoke from blacksmith rising. Alara sneaked to the forge, iron hammers making sparks fly. She stole a thin needle, sharp as revenge, hiding it with the vial, like tools for her big night. Watched her, his whip like an iron snake, doubt in his eyes making her stomach twist. She churned butter, shadows playing on the wooden tool, river fog coming up with red reeds waving slow. Voss went hunting alone, his gun barrel cold iron coming back with a rabbit, blood dripping on the ground. Alara cleaned it, hands red with blood, seeing it as a sign of what she would do to Voss soon. A twist came quick. Josiah showed up hurt, blood on his shirt from overseer's whip, hiding in the ruins. Alara ran to him in fog, bandaging his cuts, her heart pulling between love and her fire for revenge. He begged her to stop the plan, fog hiding their tears, but she said no, her voice strong like iron. Night came, moon hidden by fog. Alara dreamed of wedding blood, chains melting in big fire. She woke sweating, smoke from dead candle, holding the chain piece like a lucky charm for death. Voss gave her a necklace, iron clasp cold. She put it on, feeling it like real chains around her neck. Poison vial safe in her dress, overseer's keys ringing loud, making her hide better in shadows. She washed clothes by river, fog thick like smoke, blood from scratches mixing with water. Guests came more, carriages in fog, big house lights casting long shadows like fingers reaching out. Elara served food, hands steady, vial close. Thinking of adding poison early but waiting for right time. Emotional hook pulled. She saw Voss laugh with friends, a soft look in his eyes making her doubt for a second. She shook it off, fire burning hot, revenge her only way to break free from chains. Twist hit hard. Overseer found a herb leaf in her quarters, his eyes narrow, calling her for questions. Elara's heart raced, shadows closing. In, she lied smooth, saying it was for tea, fog outside helping her calm. He let her go, but watch grew tighter, iron gaze following her every step around the plantation. Nights got longer, fog pressing windows. Elara planned escape after the deed, ruins as first hide spot. Josiah got better, whispering love again, his touch warm, making her plan feel heavy with feelings. She pushed away gentle, fire in eyes saying revenge first, then maybe freedom together. The chapel got ready, flowers like blood spots, iron cross on top shining under smoky sun. Elara tried her dress, white like fog veil, iron hoops under making it feel like a pretty cage. Voss watched from door, his smile twisted, shadows playing on his face like secrets. She smiled back fake, mind on vial, suspense building like slow storm clouds. Overseer rode by, whip ready, his horse kicking red dirt like blood spray. A hook grabbed her. A slave friend warned of Voss's spy-in quarters, making trust break a bit. Elara checked everyone, shadows hiding faces, her vial moved to safer spot under loose floorboard. Night storm came, lightning showing ruins, thunder like whip cracks shaking the ground. She met Josiah in rain, fog mixing with smoke from wet fires, his plan to help her run after. Emotional twist turned, he said he loved her too much to lose, begging change of heart. Elara's eyes filled but resolve like iron, whispering death to Voss was her only key out. Guests danced in hall, shadows spinning wild, Voss pulling Elara close, his breath smoky. She felt chains in his hold, vial pressing skin, thinking of wedding night wine turning red with poison. Twist shocked, a guest dropped hint of Voss's first wife poisoned, eyes on Elara like she knew. She froze inside, fire raging, seeing it as sign her plan was right, cycle of revenge. Overseer searched again, boots loud, missing vial by inch, her breath held in shadows. Fear hooked deep, heart pounding. She grabbed vial tight after, fog outside calling for run. Voss's dinner glowed, candles like small fires, Elara pouring wine, hand close to adding drop. She held back, suspense tight, waiting for wedding toast when no one would suspect. Josiah watched from corner, eyes worried, signaling careful with. Not in shadows, fog grew thick like smoke veil. Elara walking ruins alone, chain piece cutting her palm. A memory hit, her family lost in smoke raid, blood on sands, fueling her hate more. Dawn came smoky, kitchens busy, wedding smell in air like sweet trap. Voss sent ring early, iron band with gem. She slipped it on, feeling weight of fake promise. Slaves whispered help, one giving extra herb for stronger poison, fog hiding their talk. Emotional hook tugged. Josiah kissed her quick in shadows, saying be safe, love forever. She nodded, fire mixed with fear, plan now set like iron trap. Overseer's horse neighed, steam like smoke, his eyes scanning for trouble in red fields. Twist came sneaky, Voss called meeting, saying he heard rumors of slave plot, eyes on Elara. She stayed calm, lying easy, heart like drum, fog outside promising cover soon. He believed, or seemed to, letting go, but guards up more, chains tighter around all. Night sleepless, fog at window. Elara dreaming Voss choking on blood wine, smiling in sleep. She woke ready, vial checked, poison clear as death wish. Big house buzzed, final touches, shadows hurried like scared ghosts. Elara sewed last veil thread, needle prick drawing blood drop, sign of coming end. Voss paced veranda, cigar smoke. Curling, his face tense like he felt something wrong. She watched hidden suspense building, thinking one more day to wedding doom. A hook pulled sharp letter from Voss's kin warning of poison past, making her wonder if known. She burned it quick, flames eating words, resolve stronger in smoke. Overseer flogged wrong slave, blood on post. Elara turning away, will like fire. Josiah slipped note saying ready to help after, ruins wait for them. Emotional twist soft. She felt hope mix with hate, freedom close but risky. Guests laughed loud, fog outside thick, big house like glowing trap. Elara poured practice wine, hand steady, imagining the real night. Twist final, vial almost dropped, caught last second, heart stop moment. She hid it safe, breath shaky, suspense hanging like smoke veil. As fog wrapped big house tight, Elara held vial, wedding eve full of dark promise and fear. Dawn painted the sky blood red over Willow Bend in 1851, fog lifting slow like a shy ghost as Elara slipped on her white dress, chains hidden under silk. Josiah waited at her door, eyes full of worry, breath smoky in the cool air, whispering last chance to run to the ruins. Elara shook her head, fire burning in her heart, holding the poison vial tight like a secret best friend. The plantation buzzed alive, slaves rushing with flowers, shadows dancing quick under a smoky sun. Voss stood tall in his suit, iron buttons shining, looking at himself in mirror with a proud smile. He paced the veranda, cigar smoke curling up, his mind on the bride he bought, not knowing her dark plan. Elara hid the vial in her bouquet of blood-red roses, thorns pricking her skin like tiny warnings. Her heart raced fast, revenge so close, blood memories from chains pushing her to be brave. Overseer watched everyone, whip like iron ready, his eyes sharp on Elara, making her wonder if he knew. She walked to chapel slow, fog still hugging trees, each step feeling like a chain pulling her forward. Guests sat in rows, fancy hats and suits, shadows long in mourning, light like fingers pointing blame. Voss waited at altar, smile big iron cross above like a sign of doom hanging heavy. Elara's veil covered her face, white like fog, but inside her mind stormed with fire and hate. Josiah hid in back, eyes locked on her, his love a hook pulling at her heartstrings. The preacher started words, voice deep, rings like iron shackles ready to bind them forever. Elara said vows soft, hand on vial, thinking of poison in wine later, suspense building like thunder. Voss slipped ring on, cold metal biting, his eyes full of want, shadows playing tricks on his face. They kissed quick, lips cold as iron, guests clapping, but Elara felt chains tighten in her soul. Feast started in hall, tables full of food, smoke from candles mixing with fog outside windows. Elara sat by Voss, smile fake, vial pressing against her like a ticking bomb. He poured wine blood red in glasses, her hand itching to add poison right then. A twist came sudden, Overseer whispered to Voss, eyes on Elara, making her freeze in fear. He said nothing bad, just about guests, but hook of doubt stuck in her mind sharp, dances swirled, shadows spinning fun, Voss pulling her close, breath smoky with wine. She felt his heart beat, strong like iron, thinking how soon it would stop. Forever, Josiah watched from side, face sad, his love a silent hook begging her to stop. Elara shook head, tiny fire winning, plan too far to turn back now. Guests toasted loud, glasses clinking, wine flowing like blood rivers. She held her glass, staring at red liquid, imagining Voss choking later in night. Twist hit hard, a guest spilled wine on her dress, red stain like blood sign of what's coming. Elara laughed it off, but inside panic rose, vial safe but fear hooked deep. Overseer circled room, eyes like hawks, shadows following him like dark friends. She slipped to kitchen quick, fog outside thick, checking vial under rose petals. Josiah followed sneaky, whispering love, hand on her arm warm like fire. Emotional hook tugged, tears in eyes, but she pushed away, saying revenge first. Voss called her back, voice loud, iron in tone, guests watching with smiles. She danced more feet. Light but heart heavy, suspense coiling like snake ready to strike. A hook grabbed, slave friend slipped note saying Overseer suspects poison in herbs. Elara's breath stopped, shadows closing, but note said keep going, allies help. Night fell slow, fog wrapping big house, feast ending with laughs and smoky air. Guests left in carriages, wheels in red dirt, leaving Elara alone with Voss in glow. He led her to chamber, hand tight, iron ring shining on finger like chain. Room lit by fire, shadows dancing wild, bed like a trap waiting quiet. Voss poured wine last, 2 glasses red, his eyes hungry like wolf in fog. Elara's hand shook tiny, vial out quick, adding poison drop by drop unseen. He raised glass, toast to love, clinking soft, her heart pounding like drum. Voss drank deep, smile big, not knowing. Death swam in red liquid. She sipped fake, watching his face, suspense thick as fog outside window. Twist shocked, he coughed once, eyes wide, asking if wine tastes funny. Elara lied smooth, saying maybe old bottle, hook of fear stabbing her gut. He drank more, body relaxing, shadows playing on walls like ghosts watching. Minutes passed slow, fire crackling, Voss talking of future plans big. She nodded, mind racing, wondering if poison worked or failed bad. Emotional twist turned, pity flickered for him, but Chain's memory killed it quick. Voss stood sudden, face pale, hand on throat like chain choking. He fell to knees, blood foam on lips, eyes begging why in shadows. Elara watched cold fire, victory burning, revenge sweet as blood rose. Body stilled quiet, ruins of man on floor, smoke from fire curling up. She took ring off, iron cold, throwing it in fire with spark. Josiah knocked soft, face and door, helping hide body in closet quick. Twist came sneaky, noise outside, overseer patrolling with lantern glow. They froze in shadows, hearts loud, fog hiding but fear hooking tight. Overseer passed by, boots fading, relief like cool wind in heat. Elara grabbed few things, vial empty now, plan shift to escape fast. Josiah led way out, hand in hers, ruins calling through. Foggy night they ran fields quiet, cotton like ghosts, chains left behind in big house. A hook pulled, dogs barked distant, overseer may be found body already. Elara's breath short, fire pushing legs, Josiah whispering hold on. Ruins reached safe, old cabin walls like arms hugging, smoke from small fire warm. They rested short, eyes on each other, love mixing with fear sweet. Josiah bandaged old cut, blood dry now, talking. Of North freedom far, Elara nodded, vial gone but revenge done, shadows lifting slow. Twist final, light in distance, search party lanterns like fire eyes hunting. They hid deeper, fog friend now, suspense hanging like smoke veil. Dawn near, blood sky coming, escape path through woods risky. Josiah kissed her soft, hook of hope, saying together forever now. Elara smiled true first time, fire calm, but dogs closer barking. Loud, they ran again, ruins behind, chains broken but chase on. Fog thickened helpful, smoke from wet leaves hiding tracks. A river ahead, water like blood flow, crossing key to free side. Josiah helped her swim, cold bite like iron, but fire inside warm. Other bank reached, wet and tired, ruins new waiting north. Allies whispered meet, safe house in fog, help for runaways. Elara looked back south, big house tiny glow, revenge echo in heart. Josiah held. Hand, emotional hook strong, love blooming like rose. But twist sharp shot rang out, overseer voice yelling close. They ducked low, shadows save, suspense speaking high as cliff, fog swallowed sounds, giving chance running deeper into unknown. Dawn broke soft.